Okay, Midnight Beta Update Day 12. This video is going to mostly be about should healers actually do significant damage in keys or not. I got to try out my Preservation Evoker, which was very fun. As some of you may not know, when I first started streaming, this is the only character I played. I was not actually a tank that season. I played Prez. This was my old main, so I know a lot about this spec. This spec feels like second nature to me. I would consider myself to be very well versed in Preservation Evoker, and with the pruning in Midnight, everybody was focused on Restoration Shaman getting so much taken out, but actually Prez is the spec that got weirdly gutted and changed almost more than any other healer. It's just that not many people play Prez, so they weren't really up to date with the changes. Now, I got to test those changes today. I got to test it in relatively challenging content. It was genuinely pretty fun. Do I love the changes? Nah, this is where I start to feel it because I have that heart spec. You know, this spec is right in the heart, you know, so I really, really love it. And I feel like you have a different relationship reading a spec that you're like, oh, I've played that spec before. I don't really know about those changes. Seems fine. Versus one of those things where you're like, dude, this is the thing I love. I've been playing this spec for 10 years, for 20 years. Like, I've been playing this since OG vanilla. If you've been playing a spec since vanilla, please drop it in the comments. I respect the hell out of that, but I don't think, I mean, very few people have stuck on one class for that long. Like, how long have you played one class? Honest question. But the point is, so I was very concerned about the changes. I went to try them today, and I think that it felt okay. I actually really enjoyed playing my Prez. I know that when I hop on tomorrow's stream, I want to continue playing my Prez. I want to try Prez and Resto Shaman. That's kind of my goals tomorrow. But basically, let me show you a few logs from today. So, does it really matter that healers do big numbers? No, but it's fun. But it feels really fun. This is the first pull of Algadar. This is not an overall. This is the only healer that I have played that actually does numbers. 80k on the first pull. Now, I gamed this. I had my pre-tip to scales. I had my combat pod. Man, I was doing big damn. Does it matter? No, this is completely pad. Does it really speed up the key? By like 2 seconds. So it doesn't really matter. But I had a very fun time doing it and seeing myself on the meters. That might just be me. I know that there are a lot of healers, and I've already made some videos about my Resto Druid and healing and kind of what I expect from the changes. I know there's a lot of people who have been telling me, look, man, I'm a healer. Like, I don't want to be a pseudo DPS. Like, that's not my job. Like, I play a healer to heal. I think there's actually a lot more people who feel like that than who enjoy this sort of min-max DPS playstyle. Because here's my overall in this Alcathar. It's not that high, you know, single target and different pulls where I actually do have to be healing more. You can't sustain that first pull DPS. But you know what? I'm still happy about 22k. I felt like I contributed to my team overall. I felt like I was doing damage, where on some of my other healers, like I'm barely scratching 10, 15k, you know, in heavy healing keys. And this key is not a big healing key, but let me show you what it looks like when you do have to heal. This is a completely different environment. This was a 16 Pit of Sauron. I was doing 109k HPS for reference on beta. That is a lot. That is quite a bit. You will very rarely see healers on beta be doing around like 100k is like, man, you're pumping. This fight is a massive HPS check. It very much reminds me of Kajin from Halls of Atonement back in the day. If you remember, oh, excuse me, Halls of Atonement, Halls of Infusion, that old dungeon from a few years ago. It's old now. Basically, it reminds me, it's a pure rot fight. There's just constant ticking damage. There's one big spike, but basically you are just pumping the whole time. Your mana bar starts at 100 and it ends at 0. That fight is madness. Very, very, very fun. I had more fun healing this than I did DPSing the very first pull of Algathar Academy. And the truth is, on my Prez, it is a mini game to min-max my healing. I was like, wow, I was really challenged. Like, I almost let people die on this fight because I was really challenged. Like, I was like, wow, I really need to heal. So the point of me going on this and showing you the thing is, if more keys were designed like this, I think that healers might be happy. It's challenging. It's hard. You know, like the Candle King and Dark Flame Cleft are like some of these encounters that are just heavy, heavy damage. I think that generally speaking, although those fights are viewed as very, very challenging, they do express, that's the opposite end of the spectrum. Like, if you don't want Blizzard to challenge healers by giving them downtime to DPS or do other things, and you just want to be a healer, like the goal then is to do big healing numbers. This is not DPS. On this fight, I didn't do a lot of DPS. I was really just focused on keeping my group alive, and it was genuinely very fun. Like, I really had a great time on this fight. I would be glad to do this again. I would be looking forward to this. You know, if I'm like thinking, okay, I'm going to go into an 18 next time. Oh, I'm going to go into a higher key. It's like, great. I get dopamine from this. Like, this is very, very exciting. There are a lot of encounters like this. I healed 15 Seed of the Triumvirate today, which is probably the hardest key to heal, and I was gaming. We did a first pull with 4 of those chain dudes, and I was like, man, how can I game this? And I used every button that I possibly had to keep my team alive. I didn't look at the damage meters. I was not checking afterward and thinking, wow, could I do 80k DPS on the first pull? Nah, I was really just thinking, bro, I just want to keep my team alive. Like, I just want to be a good healer and see if I can actually keep everybody up. That's all I was really thinking of. So I genuinely think that the changes to healing is going to be good. Right now, to clarify, Prez is give or take the highest DPS healer on beta and the highest DPS healer on beta. Like, pretty much nothing out DPSs it. They might equal it. And without fully min-maxing, I did 22k overall in an Algathar. Algathar is a really good test key for damage, just because there isn't a lot to heal in this key. So if I'm doing this, the most you'll see in Algathar is like 25, maybe 30. I think I played with Mode, and I think he got pretty close to 30 on a completely degenerate build that did no healing, and he was just DPSing. So the point is, if you are a healer who doesn't want to do damage, I think this season, the way they're going with it, it's clearly designed to be more of a healing check. Like, you will be spending most of the key healing, and you're not going to be inting your key by doing that. So I do think that's pretty important, even if you are playing a healer like Prez. The last thing I'm going to say, though, is do remember a lot of your healing. Every healer has some ability to do this, but specifically Prez. And this is a big gripe I have with the people who do think, yo, I don't want to do damage. Like, I do really just want to be a healer. Absolutely fine. But do remember that a lot of your healing does come from damaging abilities. You don't have to min-max your damage, but this is a Flame Breath. And a lot of times these are abilities that I cast. You should be using them. There are some Prez evokers out there who do not use this. And I really, really think they should. Like, this is like a big thing. There's a lot of healers that have different interactions with damaging abilities. And it's like, you should absolutely be trying to get your Flame Breath on cooldown. It is a very big heal, and it really, really helps. Even in this big healing encounter here, you can check that I was still casting Flame Breath on pretty much on cooldown, because you want 5 stacks of it given the interaction. So it is a thing to think about, is like, well, just because you don't want to do damage doesn't necessarily mean that you shouldn't be casting any damage globals. Sometimes it actually does contribute to your kit. But anyways, let me know what you think. I'm genuinely curious about this conversation. I know that Prez has a lot of interactions where it's like, yes, you do want to be casting these damaging abilities, but also, how will I feel when I play Resto Shaman tomorrow, which doesn't really have those interactions? And in fact, I could spend the entire key healing, not cast a single Chain Lightning. How would that feel? I would feel really interested in that when I actually test it tomorrow. Would I still... What build was I playing? I got to play with Shamrock today. He's a very, very, very good Resto Shaman, and he was playing the Healing Rain, Acid Rain talent. We did a 15 Pit of Sauron, and he healed it on his Shaman. And he did like 9k overall DPS. Does it really matter? Is that a worthwhile talent? If you think like is like 2 seconds off the timer worth maintaining my rain just for that damage? Like, is that really? And you have to think about that. That'll actually be a decision. So anyways, healers, let me know what you think. I'm not a healer main. I'm just experimenting. I will eventually try all of them over the next week or 2 of streaming. If you'd like to join, feel free to hang out while I stream all the beta keys. And the last thing I'll say is I'm doing an in real life Thai stream on Tuesday, so I will not be on WoW. I will be exploring one of the big street markets in Thailand, because I got to get my lizards some stuff for their tank. Anyways, that's all from me. I will see you in the next update. Okay, bye.